And we back again, another episode of Frankly Football. I'm Brandon.
Hey, I'll set it off, Chris, man. How y'all doing out there, man? How you feeling, B?
Hey man, I can't complain. Enjoying this holiday weekend. I got a long
No doubt,
weekend,
no
so
doubt.
definitely enjoying this extra day off of work.
Yeah,
So we back again. This is Mythbusters Part 2. This
part
might
two.
become a series depending on how y'all decide to act. This might become a series.
Right.
So in the last episode, just one video ago, we were talking about Amari Cooper on the road. We
Yes.
showed how he performed in his first road game of the year against the Redskins. And contrary to popular belief, he didn't actually do that badly, even though the stat sheet didn't show an explosive day. So
Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, what we're trying to get away from is thinking if a guy doesn't go for 8 catches, a buck 20, and 2-3 touchdowns, they totally vanish. They work inside the framework of the game and the scheme for the team. But what we're going to show in this video is that coaching matters.
That's right. That's our slogan.
That is our slogan. Coaching matters. And in this scenario, we're looking. You would almost think we were back in 2018 because the coaching staff turned around in this 2019 game and thought they could coach it the same way and get away with it. And
Absolutely.
This is one thing that you cannot do. Guys are too skilled. They work too hard. They stay up too late, and they remember getting beat. And when we start looking at this, you're going to look at what the Saints set out to do and pretty much handcuffed Amari Cooper.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get into this because we got a lot of plays to go after. So
Right.
we start this here that we're going to show is the very first offensive play of the game.
Absolutely.
15 minutes in the first quarter. So let me pull this up. We're going to let the play run and then we're going to talk about it. So here we are, and running the play. We're going to run it in regular motion because there's not too much to miss here. Short pass.
Right.
And I had an issue with this play because if you run it, you see Amari Cooper at his route long before the ball got there. In that type of play, when you want to feature your number one receiver, because that's what Amari Cooper is, you want to have the ball in his face as soon as he turns. Amari Cooper had to kind of stutter just a couple of steps backwards and wait for the ball. That was my only real disagreement with that play. The ball came out late, and it didn't have a lot of velocity to it, if we're being honest.
It was a play where you put him in position where he had to turn around, and it's always with Dak early in the game. It's like his adrenaline's going, and he's not really settled into the game. And as much as we want to harp on different things with him, he's still a third-year quarterback. So a big-time game on the road, you're 3-0, and you turn around the very first play out. Cooper's open now.
Absolutely.
Ball should be there. Ball should be gone. You gave Lattimore an opportunity to take 4 steps to get to him and break up the play. The ball was low and away, and it was really a difficult catch. He basically turned back into Lattimore to try to make the play. Whereas it's basically a play where you go out, you set, and you throw. When he turned around, the ball should have been already on his way.
Absolutely. We see other
Lattimore
plays.
Lattimore was already in a bail position anyway.
Absolutely. We see other plays in this game that are almost the exact same route where Dak does get the ball there. But he didn't quite have the jitters off or what have you.
Right.
But yes, in that particular play where you're trying to set the tone,
yes,
you need the ball to come out hard and fast and on time.
And go for it. Right.
Absolutely. The next play that we're going to be watching is the very next play. Now, I saw a lot wrong with this play. But we're going to go into it. I'm going to allow it to go, and then I'm going to vent from there. So here we are. This is very next play, of course, 2nd and 3 at the 32-yard line. And we see, still your basic formation. And what I'm going to wait for the coach's view before I can really show you a few things here. And
you about to talk about your boy, ain't you? You about to talk about your boy.
I'm going to go ahead and talk about Travis, man.
You gonna talk about Travis?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about.
I didn't see Travis being the issue here.
Not the issue. He was one of the issues.
Okay.
So if we go here, once the play starts, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in slow motion. you're going to see a distinct, real lack of push from Frederick. That's what I noticed here. The guy beat him there, which is unusual. But Frederick uses his knowledge of the position. He's all pro at the end of the day. Yes. And he's a lot more cerebral than a lot of these other defensive linemen that are against him. So technique got him there. Now, what we'll also see is Zach Martin push Lyle Collins into position. But Lyle Collins' man was the one who ended up getting the defensive play. Lyle didn't really lock him down like he should have, especially since he was pushed into the right position before his opponent can really get there. You see Zach push him, and then Lyle gets his paws on him, but he doesn't finish. That is the issue.
I have no problem with any offensive lineman on here. The problem I had with this play, when I sent this to you and I looked at it, I'm blaming Jameis Olawale. That Zeke, watch. Sheldon Rankins is locked.
Yes.
Connor Williams is doing his thing.
Yes.
Zach Martin's Lyle's doing his thing. 54 is not rooted out of the hole. Absolutely you got to blast 54 out the hole.
Absolutely
not. You got to pancake 54. He stands him up. Zeke's got a sidestep, and he runs him right into Lyle Collins' guy. Runs him right into Cam Jordan.
Absolutely.
You truck this dude. That's your job. That is the one thing that they are missing. Root him out the whole fullback in that position.
Now this may be a conversation for another day, but do we really need one of those type of fullbacks with the offense that we're going to be looking to run?
You know what? When I look at a fullback in this league, if I'm going to run a two-back and I need him to be a glass eater. I need him to be a guy, his goal is to put his body and be a 6 offensive lineman on the field. And in this position here, if he makes this block, Zeke's gone. He's running. Absolutely. Everybody's blocked.
Absolutely.
Look, Connor's doing his thing. Connor's holding his spot down. If Jameis just holds the block and blocks the guy at the hole, Zeke's gone.
Absolutely. I still think
he should turn him. If he turns him to the left, or if he turns him to the left, Zeke can squeeze to the hole. There's nowhere to squeeze.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So my problem was I didn't have a problem at all with any of the offensive line. They did their thing. It was a 5-yard gain. I had a problem with Jameis Olawale.
I got to disagree there, man. I think Lyle got all of the help in the world. He started off the play maybe a little lost, and if you see, immediately, Zach pushes him into position.
Yeah. Well, okay, I give you that.
And with that assistance, as well as being a one-on-one, I'm not sure that he can go without fault. Now, granted, I believe that's Cam Jordan. He's a great defensive player, a star. But no, when as an offensive lineman, especially someone who had a year like Lyle did, you got to be able to hold those blocks.
Okay. That's the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
You want to give it to Lyle. Lyle turned around and had a very, very impressive year. I thought he was the best offensive lineman on the team. Other people graded it to be Zach Martin. I thought Lyle had a really impressive year.
Absolutely.
I just felt on that play, the Saints turned around and said, okay, we turned around. We got a first pass. We got a completion. A little bit behind. Could have been a little bit better, but we set the tone with Amari. Came back and ran the ball with Zeke, and there went the conservativeness. The Cowboys, from that point on, we're going to be conservative. We're going to run the runner. We're not going to press them. We're not going to show them any movement. We're not going to show them any shifting. Because if you look at that play, there's no shifting.
That's right.
We're just going to stand here, and we're going to start out here. The first 3 games of the season, a lot of movement, a lot of shifting, a lot of formational shift to make it to the point that you didn't know who was getting the ball. And on that play, I would have loved Jameis Olawale to block the linebacker and get him out the hole.
His lack of success in plays like that, and situations like he had against the Colts where he didn't catch the touchdown. That may be one of the reasons where he does not make this team.
For a while. Jameis has been stealing money for quite some time.
Absolutely. And he just got a new contract, mind you, but that may be one of the reasons why he doesn't make this team. We have to wait and see for that. That's going to be another video, another conversation as training camp hopefully goes on. Got my fingers crossed on that one.
Absolutely.
But let's move on to the next play. Here we are. This is much later in the game. This is in the third quarter.
Right.
This is going to be 2nd and 7 with 10 minutes and 25 seconds left. Now, this did turn out to be a pretty decent play. Lack of yards out of the carry like I would have liked, but we're going to see another situation just like I explained earlier. I'm going to let it run before I talk about it, though.
Okay.
So we see there the exact same thing. I feel like the ball should have been there as soon as Cooper turned because he put himself in position to succeed. Immediately turned back toward the ball. The ball should have been there at that point. If he would have had that, he would have gotten more than 1 or 2 yards after the catch.
The Saints were in a position where if you look at it, Lattimore is bailing. It's a zone coverage anyway.
Absolutely.
The linebacker's sitting there. So the linebacker doesn't even respect Witten running up the seam.
Absolutely.
He just totally lets Witten go. Or is that Witten or is that Jarwin? Let's go back.
That's Witten.
To the cartoon.
That's Witten.
Okay.
Now, I think that signifies one of two things. Did the linebacker just respect his coach enough to stick in his line and trust the guy behind him to make the play? Or is this a situation?
I'll give you that because he knew he had help over the top because Lattimore was already in bail technique. Yeah, he knew that was there. Yeah, I can say that too.
Now, do you think that this is also a situation where the Cowboys should have relied on some of their tight ends who were better as a receiver, like hopefully they plan on doing now in this situation? Should they have put someone like Blake Jarwin in that play to exploit the seam?
I could have took Blake Jarwin to exploit the seams. I could have waited a step, and I could have dealt with Cobb, who was killing him in the middle of the field. Because here's Cobb running. Cobb is running free.
Absolutely.
He's running free.
And Randall Cobb I believe in this quarter had a big 30-plus yard catch in the third quarter, if I recall correctly. So he was already having a moderately successful day.
And that's what will end up happening this year. You won't have those issues with your slot receiver not getting the ball in those opportunities. You need to look at your slot receiver because he is the guy that's open. He's working against the third corner, working to the middle of the field, where all your attention again is drawn to Amari Cooper.
Absolutely.
Attention is drawn, and you had time in the pocket. Your pocket was clean. You had time. You could have surveyed the field, say, okay, I'm going to make this throw down the middle of the field to put this game away.
Absolutely.
And that's what a more experienced quarterback will do. He'll say, you know what? The safe play is the out route to my number one. But the game winner is to my slot receiver who's running one-on-one. The safety is not paying attention to him, and he's got to step on the corner.
Absolutely. And we're going to touch on the importance of the slot receiver in one of the later plays in the game.
Absolutely.
Now, what I was going to say in regards to this play and the others that we've seen, the Saints played smart. They didn't, like we saw a team like the Redskins do, they didn't just leave their guy on an island in order to just tell him, okay, shut him down. They always had someone behind Amari Cooper or directly beside in order to give some sort of help. We're definitely going to see this later on, but there are situations where, and I really hope that everyone can't hear all of the fireworks outside, but
they got to pop it over my house too, buddy.
But the Saints played a very smart game, and they weren't going to let Amari Cooper beat them. That is one thing that we're going to see consistently throughout all of the plays that we're going to be viewing today. Now, the next play that we're going to be viewing is actually a couple plays before this one that we just watched. This is in the third quarter as well, 1st and 10 with 13 minutes and 31 seconds left on the clock. So we're going to go here, and one of the things that I think this is a very good play. Let's just say that. I didn't really find but so much issue, but I hope that you have something different. If you look, Cooper slipped off of the DB very well. Very well.
Listen, that's just precision. Amari Cooper being the best route running, one of the top 3 route running wide receivers in football. He's got he's got Marshawn Lattimore all night in bail technique.
Absolutely.
Marshawn Lattimore is not trying to get into a foot race with him. He's just trying to keep everything in front of him. That's all he's worried about right now.
Absolutely.
And that's pitch and catch. That's pitch and catch for Amari. Look at him, wide open. It's pitch and catch. No problem with that at all.
None at all.
That was there for him all night.
Now, one thing that I noticed is a distinct lack of attention to the middle of the field. The Cowboys didn't give any sort of pressure toward the middle of the field in plays like this. Cooper and Gallup, both on the outside, did do very well because it was zone coverage, of course, so they were able to exploit it a little bit more. But if you have someone like a Blake Jarwin, exploit the middle of the field and the seams, that gives the defense at least the idea that you are going to, have them on the back of their toes.
You attack the area where you're weakest. If you look at New Orleans, you turn around and say, where are your weak sides at? Your weak corner is Eli Apple.
Absolutely.
Your better corner is Marshawn Lattimore. If you're going to attack the middle of the field, you have to have a player that can be able to do that. But when you got a guy who's running in mud out there and he's getting 67% of the snaps, but the one play that you did have break down the middle of the seam was from the guy you had on the bench.
That's right.
Coaching matters, man.
Absolutely.
Coaching in these kind of games, that's where great coaching or adequate coaching can win you a football game. You're playing against a team with a quarterback that it was his second start. It was his second start. He didn't have as much control of the playbook as you would imagine, and you really needed 2 touchdowns. You could have won the football game.
You could have had 1 touchdown, and you would have had a football game. 1 touchdown by your quarterback. 1 touchdown from your quarterback.
Yes.
And you would have won the game. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. But let's keep moving. The next play that we're going to be looking at is late in the game, 4th quarter. This is going to be 1st and 10 with 6 minutes and 51 seconds left. So as you see, a lot of the plays that we're going to be looking at are few and far in between. There's a lot of time that passes where the game is almost a stalemate. And that was the story of this game. It was a very hard-fought defensive game. And I'm glad that the defense showed up, even if it was against someone like Teddy Bridgewater. So I got to give them the credit there. But if you look here, it's, again, some of those little small mistakes that we see, but then also something pretty egregious. Now count those steps and then see the slam.
Right.
You see where a flag should have been called. Normally.
Absolutely. You're right here. This is where the tone of the game has changed.
Absolutely.
It's 6:51 left in the 4th quarter. You're deep in your territory because, once again, you lost the field position battle.
Horrible.
Lost the field position battle because of special teams. So
you can thank Jeff Heath for that one. There was a penalty. Holding.
Right, holding penalty from special teams, which puts you deep. You turn around and you make a great pass, a really good pass to Amari Cooper for 9 yards. He takes 5 steps in bounds and gets slammed out of bounds. Should have been a personal foul, 15 yards, and that changed the complexion of this entire game.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that I did see, this was a very good pass, a little tad bit high, but I can't complain about it. Cooper was in perfect position, exploited the route, and the refs, this isn't very late in the game. This isn't a 2-minute drill. The refs have to call these sort of plays. If you see here, Absolutely. There are 5 steps, and then Cooper is slammed. He's already going out of bounds. The ref is right there in his face.
Right, you got to throw that. That's a
Absolutely.
Flag.
Absolutely.
That's a penalty in the game. Also on that play, if Rain holds the ball 1 tick longer, guess who's wide open in the middle of the field?
If I recall, is that Randall Cobb right there?
No, sir. That's Blake Jarwin.
Oh, okay. You're talking about in the seam. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Short. Oh, yeah. If you look at Blake Jarwin in the seam, yeah, let's run that normal speed. You'll see just a little bit longer. There is free real estate. That's all that is. That's free real estate.
Hey, and that's all you need.
Absolutely.
Because you need 1 touchdown to win the game.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the pocket. He's looking.
And it was a relatively clean pocket. Very clean. He didn't take a step back. So you have to think those guys in his face are only there because that was in a shotgun, no steps back.
No step. Right.
So if Dak takes 1-2 steps back, there is an extra 1, maybe 2 seconds to where he can hold onto the
That's
ball
it.
and get someone like Blake
And
Jarwin in the seam.
deliver to the middle of the field. And Blake's
Absolutely.
running. Blake's off and running.
Absolutely. So those are just those mental mistakes that were common throughout this entire game.
Right. This is my quarterback being a third-year quarterback, but this is my quarterback just trying to protect it and play safe. 651. I want to drive the length of the field.
Absolutely. Now, once again, I'm not mad at the play at all, though, because I think that Cooper made a very good move to get himself open very quickly and working the sideline with not much of the game on their side as well, in a game where they saw their offense was making a lot of mistakes. So I'm not mad at what happened.
No, but you can't say it got vanished because the game plan got very tight and very restricted.
Absolutely.
You can't say it got vanished because he didn't get opportunities.
Yes, sir.
Coaching led you to the point where you're in a one-score game.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans didn't have to take any risk, and we already know the old regime was never in the business of taking risks.
Absolutely. That's why they're out of the door today. And you mentioned all of those things. You didn't mention that they were against a backup quarterback, a very good backup quarterback who is a starter today, but still a backup in Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, this was his second start.
As a Saint. As a Saint.
His second start as a Saint, but it was like his second start after that horrendous injury in like almost 2 years.
Absolutely. Almost lost his leg. I'm glad he's okay.
I'm glad he's playing football, but if I got a guy who I know hasn't had a lot of snaps, I'm going to throw stuff at him make him think. Absolutely. And if that makes him think, that gives me an opportunity to get at him and rattle him.
Absolutely. Now, granted,
to be honest, because he hadn't been in that pressure cooker. He hadn't been in the fire.
That's right. And
in a long time.
He didn't have a spectacular game. Under 200 yards, 23 of 30.
A lot of short passes. Nothing to press nothing to threaten the defense. But when you get into a game where you know the other side isn't going to do anything to make you have to throw the football and score points, you can draw up and coach and call a very conservative game.
That's right.
Coaching matters so much. This is a game that you got to get in town, score enough points to put pressure on them so you can get out of town with a win.
Absolutely. Now, allow me to turn my handy-dandy notebook to my next page of notes. And we're going to see here the next play that we're going to be looking at is just a few plays later. This is going to be still in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 2 with 5 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock. Let's run this play, and we can talk about it. This play is one where I feel like a lot of things went wrong. I can say that, just to start off without spoiling things. A lot of things went wrong here, and it resulted, in some bad things. Now, what looked wrong in this play, Chris?
To me, it was a design run.
Absolutely, quarterback.
It was a design run. No one ran a route to get open. If you look at the guys coming off the line, if you look at the bottom of the screen, they're just trying to push up the field to give him room. No one ran a route to try to get open. They ran right into the middle of the chest of the defenders. Absolutely. Every guy did.
Absolutely.
The only one that got out the box a little bit was Amari because he took an outside release up the sideline. That's when he didn't run into his chest. It was supposed to be a quarterback draw. Yes. But what ends up happening is because when Cam Jordan's release is far outside and Lyle didn't come up and make contact with him to ride him out, that's what gave him the ability to get loose and come back inside. And then Dak turns around and says, I'm going to try to make a throw to be heroic. There was nobody open on this play.
That's right. You can tell that from early in the field where Jason Witten didn't quite block the guy because you don't want to get a blocking upfield penalty.
Right.
He jammed into him and then immediately went out. And you see all of the other guys run, I don't want to say lazy routes, but they were running with the intention of Dak moving the ball upfield. Right. We're going to go to the coach's view, the cartel view, and we're going to see some of the exact same things. Once this ball snaps, you're going to see a hole come up exactly where
it turns around. Yeah.
You're going to see a hole open up. Dak didn't take that hole, and that is what kind of caused that that miscommunication. Because you see that
even,
Amari,
even if it's to the point where when Jason Witten turned around, he didn't break it. He didn't break it to the point of making to the point of getting. He never turned to try to make a pass route move. He just ran right into the middle of his chest.
absolutely.
If he was going to try to go for the 2 yards, it should have been now. Get going.
That's right. Absolutely.
Waited too long.
And Amari Cooper really only came back on his route just to try and make a play.
Right.
That's the only issue. So
right.
he didn't run the play from the snap with the intention of that. That's why the guy was in his hip pocket the whole time.
Right. He ran the route. His route was a clear out route to run
Absolutely.
him up the field to give him room to go try to make the first down.
And as he saw Dak continuing to scramble, he had to turn it into a comeback.
Right. And if you go back and look at that play, when you look at that play again, no movement.
Absolutely.
Everybody got to where they were at. They sat there. No
right.
shit from side to side. No shit to the formation. They just got a chance to sit right there and just lock in on the guy.
That's right. So that goes back to those mental mistakes that we were talking about. These are the type of things that hopefully this new coaching staff can change, because we can't have more of the same. That's why all of the old guys, all of the old regime, their keys didn't work when they came in on Monday.
They couldn't get to the weight room.
That's right.
It was red. The cue cards were null and void.
Absolutely. So we can only hope that all of these sort of mental mistakes that we see, and that's a common theme among a lot of these plays are mental mistakes.
Yeah, it kind of gives you some of the nuances and things we look at, because when you say, how's a team with the number one offensive football go 8-8? But this is little things like this, getting a penalty, getting the ball back, and getting it with 6:51 left on a defense plays well, and you turn around and start on the 10-yard line. You got 90 yards of field to try to go get. Those are the little things that you're missing that happen to this football team because of piss poor coaching and special teams, and not helping a rookie play caller in his first huge road game of the season. First 3 games, he's going against the Giants team with a rookie quarterback. Second game, he's going against the Redskins with Case Keenum, and they build it. And then the third game, you're going against at
the
home.
Dolphins.
Right, you're going against the Dolphins team, trying to find its way. So you get your first big test, and you don't allow him to keep his offense fresh, keep moving people around, to keep trying to press the issue against a team. If you score 14 points, 17 points, you walk out with a victory.
That's right. And that's just some of those things that needed to happen, because you mentioned the first big test. You got the answers to the test before quiz day. And that happened in the form of Teddy Bridgewater being forced to start.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, it was due to an injury, but that gave you so many breaks.
It gave you such a big advantage, because you had, like we said, this was his second start after being out of football for about 2 years.
That's right.
You're coming in a hot football team, having put up almost 30 points you put 30 points up every game.
That's right.
Up to that point. So now you just got to keep pressing the issue. You press the issue. That's a pivotal game in the middle of your season. That's the one game you could have won.
Absolutely.
Put you in the playoffs.
Absolutely. If we're looking at any game that we would like to have back, it would have been this one.
Absolutely.
It would have been this one.
That's it.
Now, let's continue to look on here. These last few plays are all in the final 30 seconds of the game.
Right.
All of them. This is crunch time here. This is when you're looking for your quarterback to be clutch. This is when you want your team to make all of the right plays. So Here we are. At this point in time, let me paint a picture. You're in the final drive. Defense, special teams rather, has given you another long field to run with. There is not even a minute on the clock. You don't have any timeouts.
Okay.
And here we are. Right now, it is 2nd and 10 in the fourth quarter with 30 seconds.
Before you go into that, Brandon,
yes,
you're looking to get the ball probably at the worst case scenario, their 35-yard line.
That's right. So and I forgot to mention, it is a 2-point game. So a field goal will win you the game.
You need to get the ball. 35-yard line gives you the opportunity to try a 52-yard field goal for the win and to get out of town. With all the blunders you've made, Witten fumbling, Zeke fumbling, You know, you're trying to get out the building with a win. Look at the play calling that they end up calling here.
Absolutely. And for what it's worth, you are starting on the 26-yard line. So here we go. Once again, this is 2nd and 10 with 30 seconds left at the 26-yard line. Let's run this play. We're going to see exactly how this transpires here.
No timeouts. You're trying to get about 40 yards.
Absolutely. So we see here, Cooper runs the, let's see. This isn't the play where Cooper runs the now route. I'm sorry. This is going to be the next play. Here is what we see here. We see what happened earlier in the game. We see where Amari Cooper got slammed, right?
Right.
So here we see where the defensive back, pay attention to the 30-yard line.
Contact.
The defensive back is on Cooper physically for 10 yards from the 30 to the 40. If you want to be specific, it's at the 31 to the 40. And then Cooper, of course, trying to free himself, pushes off. This was a fully extended push off, so it is illegal. But don't you think that should have been defensive holding?
Without question. Illegal use of hands by the wide receiver because you cannot touch him after 5 yards. He doesn't touch him till he's to the 6 yards downfield.
Absolutely.
He doesn't touch him until he gets 6 yards down the field.
Absolutely.
I'm running with him, I'm holding him, and then I flop out when I know he's gotten separation from me. He flopped on the play. Lattimore was beat.
Now, you never want to say this, but in this situation, I do feel like Coop should have flopped. Coop should have flopped after the guy had hands on him, and you never want to say that a guy should have flopped, but when it happens to you, hindsight is 20/20. In this situation, Coop should have, and fell over a little bit.
But Coop was already making the signal for a flag because he knew he had ridden him up the field the whole time.
Absolutely.
You can't call pass interference on me if a guy is holding and grabbing me 10 yards down the field.
That's absolutely right. So this is I can't fault coaching for this. The refs should have been more cognizant of the situation. Either you call it on the offense that happened first, or you just let it ride.
Right. You either on this one you've got to call what you see on the play. You've got to see the legal use of hands by Lattimore early down the field, even if it's just the 5-yard variety and giving me the automatic first down.
Absolutely. You
ain't got to give me the spot foul. You give me the 5-yard variety, give me an automatic first down, and that changes the complexion of the game.
Absolutely. This is a situation. The refs had to make a choice. Were they going to let the guys play, or were they going to actually do their jobs? Because you had plays just a few minutes earlier in the game, and this was in the third quarter, where we see Cooper get slammed after the guy drags him 5 steps toward the sideline. So they have to make a decision there. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just trying to be aware of what happened. And these are the things why we say that Amari Cooper didn't necessarily disappear in these type of games. It was just a set of circumstances that weren't in his favor.
Yes, absolutely. The circumstances he can't officiate the game. His job is to run routes, catch the ball, block the guy in front of him. In that situation, it was up to the referees to look at it and say, okay, there's contact here all the way up the field. He flopped. I'm going to give him the 5-yard penalty or give him the spot foul where he would have caught the ball, automatic first down. Either way. Instead of that, you turn around and you get a 10-yard penalty, and now you've gotten Mr. Conservative on the sideline, handcuffing my young genius, and this is what the rest of the plays look like.
Absolutely. Now, the next play that we're going to look at is the very next play after this. The last 3 plays that we're looking at are all in a row because this is the final drive. So the very next play, of course, 10 yards back, you're starting at the 16 now, and this is 2nd and 20.
Right.
So the stakes have gotten even larger against the Cowboys. So we're going to see this play. This screams 2 things. Well, I'll let it run. If you notice where the ball went to, it went into deep middle of the field into quadruple coverage. Dak obviously trying to force it to Cooper there. What do you see in this play?
I see a one route play where I'm gonna go to the middle of the field, but I don't attack them with at least two people to the middle of the field. I got Cooper running the 9 straight down the middle of the field, but the whole middle of the field is wide open. Now I know I don't have any timeouts.
Yes, sir.
But I need 50 yards to get me in position. I need 50 yards to get me in position. So instead of being at the 16, I make a 20-yard play. I get from the 16, let's say the 36. Now I got them back on their heels.
Absolutely.
Okay. All I got now to make is maybe 1, maybe 2 more passes.
Absolutely.
But with me going too deep to the middle of the field, I work against myself in quadruple coverage. This could have been the game.
It could have been.
It could have been over if one of them guys caught it.
It could have been. Now, here's an issue. Not only does the defense give everything to ensure that they're not going to give up the extremely deep ball. As you see, Amari Cooper fell into quadruple coverage. But we also see where Devin Street at the top of your screen fell on his route. He may have been trying to take advantage of that mid-range, middle of the field, because we see where the closest DB, it is a corner, but for all intents and purposes, that's a third safety. He isn't there until the 34-yard line. Man, and we see where Devin Street fell over. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why is Devin Street even on the field in the fourth quarter, 25 seconds left, for me to try to win a football game? I love for everybody to get an opportunity, but at that time of the game, I need all horses, I need all hands on deck. They're gonna go make a play.
Now refresh my memory. Was this when Michael Gallup was injured, Chris?
Did Michael Gallup get hurt after the Dolphins game?
I can't remember off of the top of my head, but that may be a reason why Gallup was out.
Okay, all right. I'll get. You know what? If we go back and look at the stats to see if Michael Gallup was in the game, then that dispels what I had to say.
Absolutely. Now another thing that I want to look at.
If Michael Gallup suited up for this game, then I'm going back to it, and I'm going to file a civil action lawsuit against Jason Garrett and that coaching staff for coaching malpractice.
Emotional abuse, that's what it is. Now, if we look here at the bottom of the screen toward the sideline, we'll see Randall Cobb. Yes. I believe that's where the ball should have went in that play. That's what made sense. That was the smart conservative play. If Jason Garrett
this supposed to be Randall Cobb's game to Absolutely. Really come out and show everybody. He turned around earlier in the game. If we remember, he had a ball thrown behind him on a crossing route that Dak puts in front of him. It's a catch and it's a big play. You can see most of the plays where he's breaking to the middle of the field where they didn't have an answer for him, which you hope Dak's looking at this same film on his iPad when he was at home, not dealing with OTAs like us, and saying, hey, where did I miss people? And now that I've got a better option as my third receiver, or even if I got Cooper or Gallup in the slot, I'm looking for those guys to make big plays this year out of the slot for me.
Yes, sir. I think that this was a situation where Garrett needed to really make the choice if he was going to be conservative or if he was going to be Mr. Risk It for the biscuit. Because the conservative play, like I said, would have been to hit the outside and hopefully let your receiver get out of bounds to stop the play.
Right.
But he also didn't go full on risk it and try to work that middle of the field for a smooth 30-yard reception, like we're going to see in our next play. Because, like you said, there was so much free real estate in the middle of the field that if they wanted to do like they're going to do, get a deep middle ball, well, a moderately ranged middle ball, and then clock it, this would have been the play to do it instead of wasting a down and 8 seconds on an incompletion.
Because you were already in 4-down territory the whole way.
Right.
So even if you turn around and get 10 yards on this play, now it goes from 3rd and 20 to 3rd and 10. And now you can go ahead and make that deep middle pass.
Absolutely. So this was a play that really showed a lack of identity on the Garrett regime's coaching staff, because I can't put it all on Garrett. There were multiple heads in that coaching room. I can't put it all on Garrett. There were
I
plenty of
am
guys.
putting all the blame squarely on the shoulders of my 10-year coach, who was an offensive coordinator before, who knew he was going into a hostile environment with a quarterback who was coming on his second start.
That's right.
Brandon, the guy had not played football for 2 years. I should have been pressuring him at every hand. And then also, I had scored 30 points the previous 3 games.
Absolutely. Now, don't those type of things fall on Rob Marinelli and Chris Richard, though?
Hey, listen, we had already said that Papa Rod and Brother Chris had 2 totally different philosophies. You had one guy who was about keeping everything in front of him, right? But he was trying, and you had another guy who played aggressive, quarters type defense, and had guys play the ball, play the hands and not the ball.
That's right.
So it was like being blind with one eye and then having one eye that's clear with a glass. You're not knowing which eye to look out of.
Absolutely.
And so that really hurt them against a team who had really one legitimate wide receiver, one legitimate one, and had a gadget guy coming out the backfield. Even Alvin Kamara didn't even kill you this game.
Yeah. Had a relatively pedestrian day. The entire Saints offense only did but so much.
They kicked 4 field goals.
Yes, sir.
They knew if they got ahead that Jason was not going to press the issue to try to score points and go win the game and beat him. Jason was just trying to do everything not to lose the game. And that's exactly what he did. He lost it.
Absolutely. Now, the last play that we're going to look at is the play exactly the next play after this. This is once again 3rd and 20, but this time more time has expired off of the clock, and there's only 17 seconds left. Obviously, we know the end result of the game. The Cowboys lost.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and let this run.
Okay.
And this is exactly what you were talking about on the play before.
Right. Boom. Exploit the middle of the field. Get up, clock it. So had you did this before, you lost 8 seconds. You lost time on the clock by end up losing about 14 seconds.
Yes, sir.
If you turn around and get the ball up on the play before, now you're at the 48. So now you only need another 15 to 20 yards.
Yes, sir. So
and you now have them trying to protect the middle of the field, where you can now work the sidelines.
Absolutely. So this is a situation where, once again, the coaching staff's identity comes into question. Do they want to be a conservative, beat them down low, gut punch type team, or do they want to be high flying? Make the defense stand on the back of their feet,
right?
And that type of team. So hopefully there aren't these sort of identity crises that happen with the Mike McCarthy coaching regime. We want a team that can exploit all of their horses on offense, and a team that can hopefully find some stars on defense.
Yeah, I mean, we started this series off with finding out what was the reason behind Amari Cooper's bad games on the road. We found in this time is our theme. Coaching mattered to put them in a position where they weren't aggressive against a team that they could have beaten. And then when it came opportunities for Amari Cooper to make plays, they were like desperation plays. A 2nd and 20 with 4 guys around him. A 3rd and 2 on a misdiagnosed quarterback option run to throw late to a wide receiver. You turn around and had a lot of short stuff. You never really attacked the defense on all levels and from every different aspect with different people to make it hard for them to focus in on Amari Cooper. People are going to try to take your number 1 receiver away. Amari Cooper's good enough to understand that he can be able to get open. But it takes your 3rd-year quarterback at the time the ability to read that, okay, they're trying to take him away. Let me go with this option over here. And then having adequate pieces to exploit that. Last year, you didn't have that problem because you had a super-duper old man that was carrying a refrigerator on his back in the middle of the field, and he couldn't get open.
That's absolutely right, man. As you can see, we didn't even really talk about a lot of things directly related to Amari Cooper as to what related to his deficiencies in this game. We saw things like Dak Prescott having, limitations such as getting the ball in the right place at the right time with the right velocity. We saw coaching, actively or inactively work against him, and it's just a lot of things that come into play. And once again, Amari didn't necessarily have a horrible game. You can see where he showed a lot of nuance, a lot of expertise, and he showed why he deserved the contract that he got.
Without question. So,
but there are existing factors that are connected. That's what we have to acknowledge as to why any receiver has a difficult game on the road, especially against a tough defense.
Right, because what's going to happen this year is that because you have so many weapons, right, you're not going to have every guy have 8 catches, 132 tubs across the board. Hey, it's going to be one day, it's the Amari Cooper show.
That's
Next
right.
day, it's the Michael Gallup show. Next week after that, it's Blake Jarwin killed in the middle of the field. And you look up, hey, you spent the 17th pick on a wide receiver, and this guy's got, in the first 3 games, he's got 10 catches. What a wasted pick. No, you pick your poison.
That's right.
You kill a man, and there's a million ways to die.
That's
and
right.
you got legitimate pieces on the offense that can score points quickly, keep teams off balance, and keep the offense on the field longer and score points, which puts more pressure on the opposing team. But there's no question that this game here, I do not blame Amari Cooper for vanishing. I blame Jason Garrett and the former regime of coaching a game right into the hands of Sean Payton so he could win it.
Absolutely.
And give his quarterback confidence and take away a lot of confidence from your football team going forward.
Yes, sir. And we got to put a lot of blame on this defense. They didn't come up in ways that they should have in order to take advantage of a backup quarterback. So they gave
up. You talk about the defense?
Yes.
Defense gave up 12 points.
Yep.
Listen, say this like that. The defense went on the road in one of the toughest places to play and gave up 12 points. My offense has got to score 2 touchdowns and get out of town.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Your offense has to be able to put up more than 10 points. I can concede that point. The offense has to score more than 10 points, especially offense that came up in the first 3 weeks and scored like it was going out of style, like it was on sale.
30-plus points a game.
Yes, sir.
They scored 30 on the Giants, 30 on the Redskins. 30 on the team that plays in Washington, okay, and 30 on the Dolphins. They scored 30-plus points a game. They were blowing people out.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm doing that, I've got to score at least 2 touchdowns in a hostile environment against a good team with a good defense, get out of town and win.
Absolutely.
But they turned around and against the Saints, they flip-flopped what they did the year before. You beat them in your building 13-10. You go in their building losing them 12-10.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't make any kind of sense.
Yeah.
But coaching matters.
Absolutely. Coaching matters. Let's not forget that. We need to get that as a T-shirt. Eventually, that's gonna happen.
Man, that's gonna be one of the first ones to get out, man.
Merch
that's gonna be the first one. Yeah, the first one's gonna be coaching matters, and then the people who watch this and they spend time with us, I want them to understand that when you give people the truth, they got 1 or 2 choices. They can accept it or reject it.
That's right.
I'm here to tell you, you can't handle the truth. There's nothing wrong with Amari Cooper. At that point in the season, he was not showing any ill effects from his plantar fasciitis, and he was able to play. Absolutely. You just didn't put the rest of the team in position and place to win that game.
Right. That's right. And that's how we're going to end it. The team didn't get what they needed to happen in order to come away with this win, which should have been an easy win. Because when Teddy Bridgewater was coming out to be the starter, we looked past him and we paid for it. So that's how we're going to end this. So I appreciate y'all for joining us here in this little Mythbusters film session today to dispel another myth, clear the clouds in the air. So I do want to thank y'all for y'all time. Once again, I'm Brandon.
I'm Set It Off Chris. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you leave comments in the box for us, man, so we can look back at and just have a dialogue and run this thing so you can say, hey, I see this, but you see this. I want to see this, and we can keep this thing going because it's not like me and Brendan have all the knowledge in the world. We put bits and pieces from so many guys in this YouTube family to get our points and our topics and what we see on film. But we're asking you, since you're taking time away in your daily grind to spend time with us, give us a little feedback. We greatly appreciate it.
And we would appreciate it. So once again, thank you so much for being in another episode of Frankly Football. Peace.
Peace.